Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from Bludhaven to the Technodrome and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Pain, soreness, and tiredness?
Yeah, do your feet still hurt from standing on them for 2 days straight without relief?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Steve and I were just at Syracuse Collectors Con this past weekend. The regular listeners to the podcast will know we've been pushing it and hyping it for quite a long time now, and it's finally over, so you can hear us shut up about it finally, but not quite, because we're going to talk about it a little bit right now.
Yep.
And then we're going to get a bonus episode. We're not sure when. Maybe by the end of this week, Steve has to.
Yeah, it depends. Depends on how much my wife allows me to cut audio instead of hanging out on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll see how that goes. Ideally, we're going to get something out to you guys. We had some live audio from the show. We had an awesome interview with Jeff Watkins from Funky Town Comics and Vinyl, who's our show sponsor, as anyone who knows or listens to us often knows, and also was one of the main sponsors of Syracuse Collectors Con, which, dare I say, Mike, I've gone to many cons. We've worked 2 cons now.
Yeah.
So the sample size on that isn't all huge, but having gone to plenty of cons, like that seemed like it was a pretty darn good turnout for a first-time con.
It really was, considering it was the first time that they had done this particular con in Syracuse. A lot of vendors, a lot of people. I got to talk to a lot of cool people, meet a lot of cool people, see a lot of amazing stuff. Life-size R2-D2s and choppers and just really cool stuff that was there.
The R2 blew my mind, and then Chopper blew me away. I was like, when you told me there was a Chopper, like, holy crap.
Yeah,
I expect people to build an R2. I did not expect people to build a Chopper.
I only wish that I wasn't so rooted to my table the entire time that I couldn't actually walk around and enjoy as much of the con as other people. But it was a really great time. And shout out to I'm blanking on CNY Promotions.
Yep,
and,
Lynn and CNY Promotions there. Yep,
for putting this on. It was great, and I know they're already talking about doing it again next year. So if you didn't get a chance to go this year, then stay in town.
And if you did get a chance to go this year, you got to fill out one of these cool things.
That's right. Where Steve was holding up a multiple choice answer question that we had at our Multiverse Report booth. We were trying to engage with people at the convention and asking them their nerdy opinions, of which we got many. We had 6 questions total. Was it 6 questions?
Yeah, I believe for each of the questions we got at least 100 responses, except for maybe the Batman Superman or the Superman Fantastic Four question.
Also, the Star Trek one was pretty low.
Was it?
When I was doing
okay.
It was pretty low.
So those were busted out at the end of each day. So what happened was our initial plan was to do 3 questions Saturday, 3 questions Sunday. What ended up happening was there were so many people there that we blew through those first 3 questions by midday Saturday and had to pull out the other questions.
Yeah, we ran out of the 100 or.
Yeah.
How many did you print?
I printed 60 of each, 60 of each question.
Yeah,
so the first day we were out of all of them, so we had at least 120 people at the booth.
Yeah, so we had to jump to our Sunday questions on Saturday and then print out more for Sunday. So who knows? But we had, who's your favorite Batman actor? Who's your favorite Spider-Man actor? What's your favorite Star Trek series? Who is your favorite droid from the Star Wars series? Who's your favorite Doctor from Doctor Who? Which movie are you more excited for in 2025, Superman or Fantastic Four? And which one am I missing?
Spidey, Doctor,
I think I got
movies, droid, Trek, and did you do Trek?
Yeah.
Okay.
Star Trek series?
And Batman,
Favorite Star
so
Trek
favorite Star Trek series. And you also could have grabbed one of these cool things, which is...
Oh, look at that Multiverse Report coaster.
Anyone who's watching the screen can try and scan a QR code, but we were giving out some coasters to the general populace.
Yeah.
And for any of you who are out there listening that are new listeners, awesome. We really appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to our rants.
Yeah.
We got a pretty full rundown tonight. Definitely hitting you Monday because we were dead last night.
Yeah, there's no way that we were going to stand all day Sunday and then come home and record a podcast.
Yeah.
We were exhausted. Yeah.
Well, if it was just Sunday, there's a chance. But after doing Saturday and then Sunday, it was just like, nah, this ain't going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So the answers to those questionnaires will be incorporated into a bonus episode that you're going to get, like we said, with the live recordings that we did from Syracuse Collectors Con this past weekend, which we're shooting to have that out before the end of the week as a bonus episode. Not to mention, I just want to give a shout out real quick to anybody that stopped by my booth and bought a comic from me or talked to me about the comics that I had on sale, my book, The Amazing Shakes. I sold a good amount of those. And like I said, met a lot of great people and very complimentary. The people that came over to look at the artwork or read the book or buy a copy. It was great. It was really cool. So thank you so much for any of you who have done that. And
there may be some news on the next place you can see us, or maybe even be part of a live episode. So
that's true. We are already making plans for our next Comic-Con appearance. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. In the meantime,
you know what you're really going to have to stay tuned for? Our next bit of news.
Yeah, I'm really bummed about this, Steve.
Yeah, I would agree.
The Batman Part 2. I have recently admitted to myself that this might be a hot take to some of you listening. The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, is my favorite Batman movie. My favorite. Hands down.
See, the hands down is... I did not expect the hands down.
I know. I love it. I love it. I can't stop watching it. If I'm just bored and I need to put something on, that's what I go to. It's a go-to thing. I've watched it more often in the last... It's been out for, 2 years? I've watched it more in the last 2 years than I've watched any other Batman film. So, it's just great. I love it. And unfortunately, for people like me, the Batman Part 2 has been delayed. Now, people are freaking out saying it's been delayed an entire year. Don't get so nervous. It hasn't been delayed an entire year. It's only been delayed 364 days. So, Batman Part 2 was originally scheduled to open October 3rd of 2025. Now it has been moved to October 2nd of 2026. It's a huge bummer for everyone who liked that first movie, which was a lot of people because it was a pretty big hit for being a 3-hour movie. It's being reported that the delay is due in part to the actors and writers strikes that happened last year that put delays on everything, and also a lack of available stages on which to film, which apparently is a thing. I read somewhere that Warner Brothers taking their time to commit to a schedule or get the script ready, which also I guess stems from the delays caused by those strikes. There aren't as many studio stages available on which to film a big budget superhero movie. So that is the reason. And you know what? I got to think that a lot of those stages are booked because so many things got pushed because of those strikes. So I feel like it kind of all points back to the strikes for me in my brain anyway. But I don't live in Hollywood or work there, so I don't know. But it's a huge bummer. And that's a thing that is undebatable. It's a bummer that we got to wait a whole year.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that. And
yeah,
the Batman was... I never had an opinion on Robert Pattinson. I don't know if I'd seen him in anything. I knew he had the hype from the Twilight series and various other things he'd done. He had definitely gone out on a limb after that. I know we were talking about that at the con.
Yeah.
But I don't think I had seen him in any of the things that he had, gone out in left field on.
Sure.
But, that said, he kind of nailed it. To the point where we did, and, we had multiple people vote for him as their favorite Batman.
That's true. Yeah. In our poll, I mean, he wasn't in the top 3, but he was maybe the 4th or 5th out of all the Batman.
Yeah.
an honorable showing. I would
mean,
say for being the newest.
Oh,
for being the
100%.
newest Batman.
And in all honesty, like the top two for anyone who knows Batman are probably pretty cut and dry. So, yeah.
No spoilers. I know you don't know the answer to this,
Hmm.
but the second place, way closer than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
Way closer.
And as I'm very surprised, as the person who was taking most of those votes, that it was that quote.
So was I.
That actually, you know what? That happened with the Spider-Man as well. There were definitely some votes that got snuck past me without me realizing who was being voted for.
Sure.
And I had a couple of like, oh, wow, that's a lot closer than I thought it was.
Yeah. Well, there's a little tease for you, people. Stay tuned to our bonus episode later this week to see who won those polls.
Yep.
And who we're talking about. Meanwhile, this is something that, Steve, do you remember long ago in January 2023 when James Gunn announced his 50% of his slate for DC Studios?
Yeah.
You and I, we took guesses on what we thought we were going to hear. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember, but one of the things that I was really sure we were going to hear news about is I was very sure that James Gunn was not going to develop his DC universe without a Teen Titans project of some kind, whether it be a live action series or a movie.
Yeah.
I was adamant it was going to be a Teen Titans project. The announcement came out. There's no Teen Titans project. However, he did specify that the announcement that he made in January 2003 only slightly less than half of what he has planned for the DCU. So I didn't lose hope. And now, according to the Hollywood Reporter, a Teen Titans movie is in development at DC Studios. Now, everything I'm about to read has not been confirmed or acknowledged by James Gunn or Peter Safran at the time of this recording. And as James Gunn has said multiple times, do not believe anything unless it comes from my mouth or Peter's mouth. So take this with a little bit of a grain of salt. However,
the Hollywood Reporter is usually a pretty solid source.
The Hollywood Reporter, exactly.
We're not talking like Bob on Twitter. This is this is an actual outlet that is publishing things.
Legitimate outlet. Yes, exactly. So, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Anna Nogueira has been tapped to write the script for a Teen Titans film. She is also the current writer of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which means James Gunn enjoys her work on Supergirl so much that she has been asked to write another film within the DCU. I like that a lot because one, it speaks to the strength of the script for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And it allows the DCU some continuity between writers. You work on one script, you get to work on another script, the universe. So keep building on it. I think that's great that they're working with the same people. Now, no other information is currently available, and there's been, like I said, there's been no confirmation from James Gunn or Peter Safran, so take it with a slight grain of salt, but again, reputable, very reputable source. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Teen Titans, they are a very well-known DC Comics team-up group made of younger heroes and or like sidekicks, primarily featuring characters of either Robin or Nightwing, but Dick Grayson. Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg, Starfire, and Kid Flash. There have been other characters that come in and out of that team.
Including other Robins.
Including other Robins, exactly. Those are kind of like the main team when you think of the Teen Titans. You think of those characters.
If you would think of the adult gritty version, go check out DC's Titans, which was a pretty solid show.
That's true.
Not an A+, but a good popcorny show.
Yes.
That gave you a good gauge for most of them. If you wanted to see a bunch of Raven cosplays, there were weirdly a lot at Syracuse Comic-Con.
I think I saw 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think I had 3 at Syracuse Comic-Con or Syracuse Collectors Fest.
Collectors Con. I'm gonna screw that up until we have the next one, and then screw it up some more.
Yeah. I think that this is a slam dunk move for James Gunn and the DCU. If this is true, it's insane to me that they haven't made a Teen Titans live action film, that the DCEU, the previous regime, wasn't interested in doing that. The Teen Titans are characters that have been around for so long. I mean, they started in like the 70s, and Wolfman and Perez took them over and really like brought them into the mainstream as far as comics goes alone. And then, I mean, there was 2 seasons of a serious cartoon on Cartoon Network before they turned it into Teen Titans Go, which has been on for like 8 seasons now on Cartoon Network. Like these are whether you're or in even the Titans show that you just mentioned that was on Max for a while, like whether you're talking animated or live action or serious and gritty or jokey and Looney Tunes versions, these are characters that have been in the collective consciousness for years. Like these are characters that are in people's hearts. There is a built-in fan base for these characters. So, and that's the reason that I really thought we were going to get an announcement of a Teen Titans movie back when he made his original DCU announcement. But now apparently it is happening, and I really think this is a slam dunk. And it's a great fit, I think, because we already know that he's doing a Brave and the Bold movie with Batman and Robin movie, but it's Damian is the Robin. So
yeah, because I remember when that was announced, that was a surprise.
Yes, it was a surprise. Yeah, because that means that the rest of the Bat family already has to exist, or some of the Bat family has to exist, if you're going to stick with general comic continuity.
Right.
But then, okay, if they already exist, what are they doing? Where are they? Where do you put them? How do you put them into your DCU? Oh, you make a Teen Titans movie at least, and that gives you a spot for Dick Grayson to go. Dick Grayson will likely be the leader of this team as Nightwing.
Right, and at that point it establishes he's already Nightwing. He's not one of the Robins. There you go.
Exactly. And who knows? Maybe
Jason Todd thing has already happened. Like,
yeah, maybe Jason Todd will be on this version of the Teen Titans, or Tim Drake will be on this version of the Teen Titans. Like, as you know, we can have a Nightwing and a Robin on the same team. Maybe. Who knows? But I really think this is a slam dunk idea. Like I said, these are just characters that people already know and love.
Yeah.
So not utilizing them would be a mistake. Trusting in James Gunn to have realized that. And I'm going to believe that this is true until I hear otherwise. Now, speaking of things that I maybe should be taken with a grain of salt, I'm going to suggest that these next 2 stories combined, it's really one story, but it starts in the DC universe and moves into Star Wars. This is going to be our segue from DC into Star Wars.
And one of them I keep poo-pooing in my brain, like, okay, it's probably not. You got to take it with a grain of salt. And the other one is right in my wheelhouse, so my brain is like, yeah, this has got to be true, even though you're right. It has to be taken with a grain of salt.
I think both these things are huge grain of salt things. I'll explain.
Large grains of salt.
As we go. Patty Jenkins, co-writer and director of films Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984. Co-writer of a script for Wonder Woman 3 that we will never see. Because James Gunn is not moving forward with Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot version of Wonder Woman. And when he gets to Wonder Woman, he'll be recasting. So Patty Jenkins was on a podcast this past week. She was asked if she was done in the world of Wonder Woman for DC. And she said, for the time being, yes, but probably easily forever. So that's kind of straight up saying, yeah, I'm not going to do Wonder Woman ever again. And then follow-up question, she was asked if DC Studios had any current plans for the character of Wonder Woman, and she said, quote, no, they're not interested in doing any Wonder Woman for the time being. It's not an easy task, what's going on with DC. James Gunn and Peter Safran have to follow their own heart into their own plans. So I don't know the why of what they're planning or what they're doing or why, but I have sympathy for what a big job it is, and they have to follow their heart and do what they're interested in and do what they have got planned. So this is Patty Jenkins claiming that they do not have any interest in doing Wonder Woman for the time being. And that, listeners, watchers of the Multiverse Report, is what I do not believe for one instant, that they have no interest in doing anything with Wonder Woman. For, first of all, back in that announcement, January 2023, James Gunn announced an HBO Max, Max.
No, back then it was HBO Max.
Series. You're right. A prestige HBO Max series called Paradise Lost. It's going to be like Game of Thrones, but take place on Themyscira. So right there is maybe Wonder Woman's not going to be in it. I think it was supposed to be like a prequel.
Yep.
An origins of Themyscira kind of series. But that is like very rooted in Wonder Woman. Right there, that's a Wonder Woman show. Whether or not she's in it, it's in her lore, right? Also, whether or not you like James Gunn's movies, whether or not you think he's a good fit for DC, I think if you read interviews with him, or if you follow him on any social media, you know that he is passionate about these characters and he loves the DC universe. And all that to me tells me that there's no way James Gunn thinks he can build a DCU without a Wonder Woman. He knows how important she is to the story, how important she is to the universe, how important she is to DC Comics, how important she is to the public at large. People love this character. She sat on the sidelines for so long when they were just throwing money at Superman and Batman movies. She finally got her moment in the sun. Great first movie, not great second movie, and they're just going to reboot. I get that they're giving us time. I think that James Gunn knows that the Gal Gadot character of the version of Wonder Woman, I should say, so popular and so well loved, and so she's seen as Wonder Woman still. I think he knows that he needs to give the public some time without a Wonder Woman to crave another Wonder Woman, and then can introduce his own and have people be ready for it.
Yep.
So I think he's smart enough to give us a break from Wonder Woman, but I do not think at any level he doesn't have plans for Wonder Woman. I think he knows what he wants to do. I think we'll probably get more of a direct Wonder Woman thing whenever we get part 2 of his announcement of what his plans are for DCU slate, maybe Comic-Con this year. But I can't imagine that we're not going to get a Wonder Woman specific announcement, even though, like I said, we already kind of got one with the Themyscira show, Paradise Lost. That's kind of a lead up to a Wonder Woman thing. So I don't believe that for a second. I think that's her giving a little dig at DC for not going with her version of Wonder Woman. But that's just me.
No, that tracks. That makes sense. It seems, I don't want to say petty, but mildly petty of hey, we're going to call them out.
Yeah, because she's calling him out, but then she immediately says oh yeah, no, they have a big job over there, and I understand, I have sympathy for it. So it's calling it out, but also not calling it out, but also making sure she says that they don't have plans for Wonder Woman. I don't know. I think they do. There's no way they don't have plans for Wonder Woman. There's no way.
Right. If they don't, then I am mildly losing faith in the James Gunn of all this.
Yeah. I can't imagine that. He knows how important of a character she is. He does. He just does.
Yeah.
So,
and I think he's said that before.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the DC part of this quote, this interview. So, moving on to a galaxy far, far away. Patty Jenkins is now claiming that she is back working a project for Lucasfilm called Rogue Squadron. Now, this is a movie that was announced 2 years ago?
Something like that. Pretty close.
I think it was shortly after Wonder Woman 1984 came out. They released a whole video of her putting a pilot jacket on or whatever and getting it and talking about her dad was a fighter pilot and whatever. She wants to do this. So Patty Jenkins was attached to a Rogue Squadron movie for a while, if you don't remember. But it was delayed, suspended, taken off the release calendar. It was dated for a while, wasn't it? I feel like
so. Yeah, it was. It at least had a year.
I think we're already past the original release date for Rogue Squadron. So probably. It's been a while. It's been probably 2 years or more since they first announced it. And then we thought it wasn't going to happen again. And it got delayed because she was planning on doing Wonder Woman 3. But then Wonder Woman 3 didn't happen. And we wondered if we were going to go back to Rogue Squadron. Hadn't heard anything. This is the quote that she gave on that same podcast this week. She said, quote, "So when I left Star Wars to do Wonder Woman 3, I thought maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. So we did a deal for that to happen. Started a deal. But I thought I was doing Wonder Woman. When that went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, we've got to finish this deal. We finished that deal right as the strike was happening. So now I owe a draft of Star Wars, and so we will see what happens there. Like, who knows? It's hard. They have a hard job in front of them as far as what's the first movie they're going to do. They have other directors who have been working, but I'm back on doing Rogue Squadron, and we'll see what happens. We need to develop, we need to get it where we're both super happy with it. The end of the quote. So she is claiming she's back working on Rogue Squadron. And I know, Steve, that sets your heart aflutter because you're very excited for a Rogue Squadron movie.
Very much so.
However, our I almost said friend of the pod. He doesn't know we exist.
Yeah.
But we do put a good amount of stock in the reports from a scooper named Jeff Snyder, who personally doesn't care about Star Wars at all. So he doesn't have a personal interest in this. He doesn't want there to be a Rogue Squadron movie. He doesn't care if there's a Rogue Squadron movie. He probably doesn't care if there's ever another Star Wars movie ever. Personally.
Right. He doesn't have that sitting above his head.
Exactly.
For anyone who's on the audio, it's signed issue number 1 of Rogue Squadron from 1996.
Heck yeah. Jeff Snyder also knows that Lucasfilm and Disney would be stupid to not make another Star Wars movie, despite him not personally caring about them. He just reports on what he hears, and he, in his podcast this past week with John Roca, the Hot Mic, they talked about this, and he said something very interesting. He said he basically wasn't really sure if this was how true this was, and he said, "Look, I'll put it this way: Damon Lindelof was contractually obligated to deliver his draft as well, and then within a week he was replaced by Stephen Knight." And this is referencing Damon Lindelof's time on the new Jedi Order Rey movie. Yeah. Then he goes on to say, "I don't think this project is particularly active at the moment or active with her," meaning Patty Jenkins. So that's just one person's opinion, but he is a person with ears within the industry. So I can certainly see that, yeah, at one point we had a contract and you were going to write a Rogue Squadron movie and then we delayed it, but now you're not doing that anymore and we still need you to write this, even though we may not move forward with it anymore. She still may be contractually obligated to write this Rogue Squadron movie.
Right.
So whether or not they move forward with that script, they just might take it and put it in a file somewhere. Whatever. Steve, how do you read this? And we should say there has been no official statement from Lucasfilm, from Kathleen
No, there's
Kennedy,
been nothing outside of Jenkins saying that
about this coming back. This is just Patty Jenkins saying, "Hey, I'm working on Star Wars." And whether or not that's true, we don't know. I mean, I don't know that she would just straight up lie about it, maybe, but it could be a thing where she's contractually obligated, but they have no plans of actually making the movie, which is why they haven't actually announced anything. How you feeling about this, Steve?
Indifferent?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like, it was one of those where when you read the news, it was the standard roller coaster. When I read the news, my heart was aflutter. And I was very happy. And I was a happy Steve saying, I'm finally going to get my X-Wing movie that I've wanted since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then, like, literally, when I was reading those X-Wing books as a kid, I was like, they need to make a movie out of this.
Right.
And then they go and say, hey, we're going to make a movie out of this. And then they don't. And now they're saying maybe. And I'm like, yeah. But when you actually, take the orange flight visor off and look at it through normal lenses and like rational thought, it's not looking promising. Like there might be a little bit of smoke there, but I don't think there's any fire.
It's not. That's a great way to put it. It's not really enough for me to get excited about it because Lucasfilm hasn't officially confirmed that it's happening. If there was a statement from Lucasfilm tomorrow saying like, "Yep, Rogue Squadron is happening, and here's the date for it,"
even
I don't know if they care about it anymore.
If they came out and said that, it'd just be like, okay, yeah.
I mean, and they did at one point. It was official that it was on the schedule.
I think it was supposed to be a 25 date.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be the first of the new, right?
I think so. But then it went away. Yeah, yes, it was billed as the next Star Wars movie. It was going to be Rogue Squadron, but then it went away. And then they kind of reconfigured, and now we know that they're working on New Jedi Order. We know they're working on Mandalorian Grogu. We know they're working on Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And a Dave Filoni verse movie. So, things just changed. Winds have shifted. They might not have space for a Rogue Squadron movie anymore. Or they may not be moving in that direction anymore. Who knows?
And that's probably true, but I really need, Wes Jansen and Taiko Selchu and like all these characters that were awesome that we'll never see in live action. But
hey,
whatever.
I hope you get those characters that I've never heard of and don't know anything about. But if you're that passionate about them, I hope you get them someday.
Yeah.
And who knows, Steve, Patty Jenkins might turn in this banger of a script and they're like, yo, yeah, okay, we're doing that.
Right. They could.
Yeah. Who knows? Or maybe they're like, you know what? This would make a better series than it would be a movie. Let's make a series. Rogue Squadron series.
I'd be happy with them bringing the comics back.
Wow. Anything.
Dude, there's this breadth of Star Wars that just needs to be explored of people that don't carry laser swords.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Like, that was my favorite part of the old EU was I loved the original 3. I loved all the stories around them, but there was something about setting the world alight with these other stories that were, generic stuff. Like a random fighter squadron. Like it gave a sense of realism to the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, it's like Andor.
Yeah, exactly.
No, there's no lightsabers in that show.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah.
Rogue One.
Well,
the only lightsaber was right at the end, and it was worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I agree.
You use your lightsaber sparingly.
Yeah. Speaking of red-bladed lightsabers, we got a new poster for a show called The Acolyte. Star Wars The Acolyte, a show that we know very little about. And we're about to know a little bit more because tomorrow, we're recording this on a Monday night. Tomorrow, Tuesday, March 19th, we are getting trailer for The Acolyte.
For all we know, this thing could be the biggest banger that we've seen in forever, and Mike and I will be talking to you again tomorrow.
Very possible. Very possible.
But other than that, we don't know anything outside of the fact that it's set in the High Republic. Amanda Stenberg is playing the lead, and it's a Sith-ish type character, and that's all we know.
Seems to be focused on the villains. We got the poster.
The poster's
pretty badass poster. Yeah. This is probably the for all the battling and like decapitation and cutting off of limbs that you see in Star Wars, you don't see a whole lot of blood.
No.
Star Wars is PG to PG-13 stuff. Not a lot of blood in these movies.
This is the most visceral poster you can see.
The best word. Most visceral Star Wars poster I've ever seen. It's a kind of like a gray slate, most of the poster, with the tagline is, "In an age of light, a darkness rises." And at the bottom of the poster is a lightsaber hilt. And instead of a beam of light coming out of the hilt of the lightsaber, it's just like a big red smear of blood. I can only assume it's blood. I don't think anyone else looks at that and thinks it's anything else other than blood.
Yep.
So it is a pretty hardcore poster. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It makes me very excited. Like I said, the trailer's coming out tomorrow, and Deadline apparently reported a synopsis for the series saying a former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. So still kind of generic, giving us a little bit more, like a taste, like, oh, it's like a detective thing. They're trying to solve whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But I think the trailer we're going to get tomorrow will be a lot more information as far as what the show even is, because we don't really know. We don't really know.
Right. And if anyone has been to Savi's workshop or understands anything about that, the protection and defense lightsabers that you see down there are very reminiscent of the High Republic era lightsabers. That's 100% what we're seeing on this poster.
That's true. That's a good point.
Very gilded and, clean and, I don't want to say opulent, but like there's a distinct flair to all of the lightsabers from this era. And
Absolutely.
it's going to be cool to see all the different hilts that they will come up with, because in the books and in the comics, there was an over the topness of all these blades. And actually well, I won't get into it, but there was a reason for why the lightsaber blades became more utilitarian and became more I guess individualized and industrial looking.
Interesting.
So they actually it's one of those things where it's like it's a retcon, but it explains it away in a perfect like way. So yeah.
It's what Star Wars is known for.
Yeah.
Retconning things.
Hi, Bad Batch. How are you?
Yeah. Hi, Bad Batch. You're doing a great job.
Great
are.
Job, Bad Batch. Still going to be a shitty movie, but they're doing a great job connecting to it.
Great job. Really crushing it.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about the Acolyte trailer, this show, and Skeleton Crew, the other series that we should be getting this year.
We also have no idea about.
Yeah, just that it's about kids and Jude Law's in it. Really nothing. Like, that's the most exciting thing about both these shows, is that we just don't know anything about them.
Oh, did we forget I just pulled up the superhero article on the Acolyte. Did we forget that Manny Jacinto and Daphne Keane are in this?
I forgot that Daphne Keane was in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. X-23 is in this. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm really pumped for this show.
Hold on. Eunice Suatamo? Chewie is in this? Or, you know what? He's probably just playing another Wookiee. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing Chewie.
Yeah.
He's playing a different Wookiee.
Sorry. I saw the name and I'm like, huh? Okay.
I think he's playing a Wookiee Jedi, though.
Could be.
I feel like I remember he talked about that at Celebration.
I wonder if it's Briaga.
He's playing a Wookiee. I don't know.
Never mind. You would have no idea who that is. So.
No, I know who that is.
Actually. Oh yeah, from the books
from the kid's book. Yeah.
Really cool Wookiee Jedi. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. We'll see that trailer tomorrow.
And Carrie-Anne Moss. Again.
Oh yeah, Carrie-Anne Moss.
Yep.
I can't wait for this. I hope this show's good. Can't wait for that trailer. Very excited about that trailer. If it's the banger that we think it is, you might get a second bonus episode. Steve and I talking about the Acolyte trailer.
Absolutely.
But anyway, moving on into Marvel. I don't have too much to say about this. It was just kind of shocking. Disney/Marvel has fired X-Men 97 writer and showrunner Beau DeMayo. Days away from the series premiere, shortly after he finished the scripts for season 2. Apparently they were talking about ideas for season 3, but now who knows if that's going to even happen. They kind of quietly fired him and have released no reason why. DeMayo also deactivated all of his social media. I think some of it might be back up now, but no reason has been given. A couple speculations. I read a couple things saying he was tough to work with, and I guess he had an OnlyFans. I don't know what he was doing on the OnlyFans, but reports that Disney thought it was creepy that he had an OnlyFans. But again, I can't speak to that because I don't know what the purpose of his OnlyFans was or what he was doing. But I don't know. Sex work is real work, so get over yourself, Disney, if that's it. I don't know. Maybe he was a creep. Maybe he was a jerk. I don't know. Maybe he was fine and Disney's weird about people having OnlyFans. Who knows?
Yeah,
maybe none of that's true. I don't know.
The only thing I saw was that like one of the EPs basically described it as a parting of the ways, and that it was I don't think that it was as sinister as it seemed from what I could gather from that article.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, when it's happening and the timing that it's happening.
Right.
So I don't know. Who knows?
It is weird. The timing is weird that they wouldn't let him go between seasons 1 and 2.
Right.
You know?
Like drop it, wait a couple of weeks, and then can him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's very strange. Very strange. But isn't it this week that comes out? X-Men 97? I think it is.
2 days from now, I believe. I think it's March 20th, isn't it?
I believe so. So we're gonna Bad Batch and X-Men 97 going at the same
cool.
time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because I didn't need any time to do anything else.
I know,
Let's just watch cartoons.
More stuff to watch, yeah. we got a little bit of comics news for you before we do. Do you have a review this week, Steve?
While you're doing the news, I'm gonna go look at the box.
Right. I do have a review, but it's a review that I was given to do last week, and we ended up not being able to do an episode last week. A little bit of a, it's a good one. But I will say, some really cool X-Men news from the comic world this week. Marvel has announced 3 new X-Men titles. Now, those of you that follow comics may know that the X-Men have been this like Krakoa saga for the last few years, started by author Jonathan Hickman. Very detailed, in the weeds kind of guy. A lot of confusing stuff. I tried to get on board with it when it launched, and it lost me almost immediately. So a lot of people loved it. Some people said that it didn't really feel like the X-Men. Steve loved it. People said it didn't really feel like the X-Men that they were used to or liked. But you know what? The X-Men are insane and crazy, so anything goes. Anyway, now that the Krakoan era has officially ended, those plot lines have been wrapped up and resolved, Marvel has announced 3 new X-Men titles. I'm very excited about one of them, but all 3 of them seem very cool. First of all, my favorite title, The Uncanny X-Men, going back to a classic title, Uncanny X-Men, written by the legend herself, Gail Simone.
Absolutely.
Is on Uncanny X-Men. Hell yes. Can't wait for that, with art by David Marquez. I don't think this has never been an X-Men title before that I know of. Exceptional X-Men? I've never heard that before.
Not that I remember.
Yeah, we've had Uncanny. We've had can't think of one other one. New. We've had Extreme. We've had Astonishing.
All new.
All new. This is exceptional. Exceptional X-Men, written by Eve L. Ewing, with art by Carmen Camaro.
Oh, yeah,
Carnero?
there was. I forgot. 2016. Jeff Lemire did an exceptional.
Oh, exceptional. Okay.
Extraordinary.
Bringing back
No, he did Extraordinary X-Men.
Oh, well, there we go. Extraordinary. Ultimate. Also, there's been Ultimate X-Men. And then finally, just simply X-Men, written by Jed McKay, with art by Ryan Stegman.
Ultimate X-Men, you say?
Oh, look at that. Ultimate X-Men #1. Wow, that's a wild cover.
Yeah, so Peach Momoko is doing Ultimate X-Men, and
That's right.
Gave Armor like the first, I guess, story that she's ever actually had, like real background.
Cool.
And
nice.
I saw that, like, I have the A cover, but I saw that Momoko art, and I was like, holy shit, I need to have that.
Yeah. That's a great cover.
A killer cover.
Yeah. Steve,
also, I didn't
are you excited about these 3 X-Men books?
To combine Jed McKay and Stegman,
yeah,
like, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I know.
Eve Ewing's always good, and then I mean, you can't go wrong with the GOAT. Like,
yeah,
Simone will put an awesome spin on this.
And they kind of released synopses for all 3 of these. I won't go through all 3 synopses, but they all kind of seem like we're going back to these are heroes trying to do the right thing in a world that hates and fears them.
Right.
Which is the core of the X-Men thing. And that's specifically Uncanny X-Men is centering on Rogue and Gambit, I guess, moving to New Orleans with a small team, including Wolverine and a couple other.
So it's Rogue, Gambit, Kurt, Jubilee, and Wolverine.
Yeah, that's a dope team.
That's like, give me 90s X-Men into my veins right there.
Yeah. I may start pulling this book.
Yeah.
It'd be my first X pull in a long time, first Marvel pull.
Yeah.
For me.
And that'll be
I'm at least reading the first issue.
Right.
Issue. Maybe then waiting for a trade. But I'm so excited about Gail Simone writing X-Men that I'm not going to be able to hold off.
And that'll be August 7th. The X-Men title, which is the continuation of the Jerry Duggan current X-Men run.
Mm-hmm.
I guess continuation, but alteration. Team is Cyclops, Beast, Magneto, Psylocke, Kid Omega, Magic, and Juggernaut, and Temper, who used to be Oya, which whatever.
Okay, yeah, I didn't.
I was going to say I can go into we're not going to
go there. And the art they announced, I tried to like name every character, and I was like, I definitely don't know who that is.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Rabbit hole we don't need to go down on this.
No, that's fine. Let's stay out of it.
But like Magic, always good. Kid Omega Kid Omega has actually turned into a much better character than he was, so that's always good. Psylocke, I'd assume, is Quanon, seeing all the stupidity of the Betsy Braddock, and that was done long ago. So Juggernaut is now turned into a good guy, which is always weird. Like Kane Marco as a misunderstood character is actually, it seems weird, but it's been done very well. So again, I'll take it. And then the exceptional team starts with Shadowcat herself. So it is Kate Pride with a trio of new young mutants. Yeah, I can speak. Bronze, Exo, and Melee. And then Emma is also involved. So
that's the one I'm probably least excited about, just because I'm not as familiar with all of those characters. I do love.
I think they're legit new. I think it's basically just going to be a Kate versus Emma type book.
Okay, I do love Kate Pride. Yeah, like one of my favorite X-Men. So I would be interested in it based on that alone.
Well, the tagline itself is longtime fans of Kitty Pryde can count on the kinds of adventures you'd expect from her as a classic favorite.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Can't wait for that.
I almost picked up the trade, and then I realized I had all the singles, which in hindsight should have brought in to Syracuse Collectors Con. Steve Orlando, local comic writer at this point, had his trade of Marauders sitting there, and I was like, oh, I have all these books. Why didn't I bring them? Hindsight. So
yeah, I didn't think about that either.
Nope.
I didn't think about it either. I have a book to review. Came out 2 weeks ago, but it's still worth your time, worth picking up, I think. The Spectacular Spider-Men, issue 1. It's a team-up book with Peter Parker Spider-Man and Miles Morales Spider-Man.
So I was trying to remember what my book to review was, and he gave me the same book.
Oh, no way. Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's talk about it. Writer Greg Weisman, pencils by Humberto Ramos, inked by Victor Olazaba, colorist Edgar Delgado, and letterer Joe Carmanga. Spectacular Spider-Men.
And Humberto Ramos has been penciling Spidey for decades at this point, and always does a killer job.
My biggest takeaway from this book is that pretty much every time of the last, I can't tell you how many years, minimally 5 years.
Okay.
Probably more. There's been multiple times I've been in a comic shop and I've said, I want to get back into reading Spider-Man. And I pick up a Spider-Man book and I flip through it and I just say, this does not feel like Spider-Man. I have no idea what's going on. He's got weird tech in his suit. Doesn't seem like I don't relate to this. I don't read this as being the Spider-Man that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to put this down and I'm going to try again later. And that has happened multiple times over the last few years. This feels like a goddamn Spider-Man book.
It really does.
To me. It really does. And it's just Peter and Miles together. It's not overkill. They're writing it very well, giving them reasons to be teaming up, reasons to be together when these things are going down. The quips, the assists, the way that they're talking to each other, trying to work out, should I call you Brooklyn? Should you call me Queens? Or like, it was great. Like,
it was so simple, so perfect.
It felt simple. It felt natural, and it just felt like friggin' Spider-Man in a world of, we need to give him this kind of crazy tech, or we need to put him in the multiverse, or we need to, make everybody in his life a superhero. Like, nah, just give me Spider-Man. This is a Spider-Man book.
Right.
I thought it was
great. Give me Peter Parker being Peter Parker, and give me Miles Morales playing off him perfectly.
Yep.
And it just, like, the two of them, the way they were written, felt like both characters.
Yes.
And you know what? It's sort of, because we've praised it as much, it felt a lot like the relationship in Spider-Man 2.
Yes, for sure. Which is a game I'm still playing, and that's exactly, I immediately connected to that. I felt the same thing, and it's told non-linear, which I think is cool. It keeps jumping back to like things that happened before the main story, which I think is cool. And teases things that they don't really explain, so they're definitely like setting up stuff that they will pay off later, I think. But the main story of this book is just Peter and Miles trying to stop a giant monster with their spider powers.
Right.
And I'll read that book all day.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Give me just trying to stop a bad guy with webs. That's it. Great. Love it. Cut, print, Spider-Man. I'm in. Loved it.
Right.
So,
now,
Spectacular Spider-Man. If you want Spider-Man, pick it up. That's my review. What do you think, Steve?
I'm 100% with you. That felt more Spidey than anything I've read in a long time outside of Ultimate Spider-Man, because holy shit, is that still cooking?
I know. I still haven't seen any of it yet. It's sold out. I couldn't get issue 1. It's sold out. So now I'm just like, oh, what do I do?
Also, it wasn't my review, but Last Ronin 2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Re-Evolution, picking up where the other left off. Like it's well written. It's well done. Eastman's on it.
Oh, great.
It's been, it's a whole new team, but they're also like feeling themselves out and like paying homage to their uncles, quote unquote.
Sure.
And it's kind of a coming of age tale that feels good. Like it feels like it's well done. And it feels like it fits in the Turtleverse. I don't know. Turtleverse sounds great.
Yeah, why not?
So yeah, would definitely recommend picking that up as well.
Cool. Now, since we did not actually record an episode last week, we're 2 weeks behind. Steve, I don't expect you to give us a full recap of every comic that you have read in the last 2 weeks, because those of you new listeners who may be joining us for the first time, Steve is committed to a goal of reading 1,000 comics in the year of 2024.
Yeah, I'm dumb.
So, again, I don't want you to go through necessarily 2 weeks of comic titles that you have read. However, got a couple highlights, or let us know what number you're at. Are you on track? Are you falling behind? Where are you with your 1,000 comic goal?
Let me see.
Doing some quick math.
Yep.
Some tabulations. Trials and tabulations.
All right. So I am probably just behind where I need to be, probably about 20 books or so, maybe 30. But, that's an easy pickup. You grab a trade or two a day. Great, just a trade or two a day. It's fine.
Yeah, you're falling behind a little bit there, bud.
I don't know if you noticed, but that's a lot of goddamn books.
It is. It's a lot.
I mean, all it'll take is like a good day of running through my stack, plus this is half of it of things to hit. But, Last Ronin was 100% in that vein of highlights. I didn't Avengers Twilight is still absolutely cooking with gas.
Oh, great.
Star Wars High Republic is still very solid. I finished the original Spectacular Spider-Man run, or Superior Spider-Man run.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
That's just, it's the second time I've read through it, but it's still just great. To take Otto Octavius and turn him into Spider-Man.
Still doesn't sound like it would work, but
no,
everything I've heard is great. So
yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. Definitely worth grabbing on, like either in trade or on Marvel Unlimited or whatever. Awesome. Read through the Ultimate Fallout series, the lead into Miles Morales becoming Spider-Man and all that.
Oh, great. Cool.
So I think it's a 6-issue mini. I don't know, it's written down. I didn't pull that up, but read through that mini, read through a couple other trades that I had over there. So we're keeping up. We're still, like I said, we're a little behind, but we're still cooking.
Nice.
Give me a couple camping trips that I'm just sitting around doing nothing, reading comics by the fire, and we'll call it a day.
Perfect. I started reading digital over last week on the DC Universe Infinite app. I started reading Tom King's Danger Street series that came out last year.
Yeah.
Really good. I like it a lot. I mean, it's Tom King, he's great. But he's kind of like utilizing all these incredibly unknown DC characters, like very deep cut, like some more well known, like the Creeper or Manhunter. But the majority of the characters are like really Z level DC characters that I kind of had to look up and be like, oh yeah, okay, they're actual character.
They do exist, huh? Weird.
Yeah, but like that's his,
you know how many
classic thing.
You know how many X-Men team members I have to do that when they show up?
Oh, I know, right? Yeah,
like
X-Men.
I read a lot of X-Men, but I don't know who that is.
Right.
Yeah.
And these are just characters that maybe had a series in the 70s for a while and then haven't been touched since then, you know. But you know, he's really good at taking characters that seem insane or seem to have no meaning to them and giving them meaning and writing them in ways that make them purposeful. And I don't know, it's really cool so far. I'm not sure where it's going, but it's great. So highly recommend that. And this week in your local comic book stores, you may find the following books: Batman 89 Echoes #2. Number 1 came out a while ago. I don't know why it took so long for number 2 to come out, but
it does seem weird.
Yeah, I might be picking that up. Batman Superman World's Finest #25. Beware the Planet of the Apes #3. Black Panther #10. Blade #9. Catwoman #63. Elvira meets H.P. Lovecraft #2. Fantastic Four #18. Green Lantern War Journal #7. Invincible Iron Man #16. Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong #6 out of 7. Nightwing 112. Resurrection of Magneto #3. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver #2. Spawn #351. Spider Boy #5. Spider Woman #5. Star Wars Jango Fett #1. Star Wars The High Republic #5. Superman #12. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan #1. Vampirella #667. Web of Spider-Man #1. Wonder Woman #7. And X-Men Forever #1. Now, me being a big Batman fan, I hear you just take like a comic book title and put the word forever at the end of it.
Yeah.
I feel like this just means that all the X-Men are going to have nipples on their suits.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's total sense.
Yeah. Batman Forever, X-Men Forever.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right?
Why not?
That's what that means. Yeah. Steve, you have highlighted Web of Spider-Man going on. Is that like a new series?
I don't know. I was trying to figure out what it was. That was why I had highlighted it, but it looks like it's a.
I mean, that's a classic title from the '90s. There used to be a series called Web of Spider-Man, which I collected a lot of. But
looks like it's a reboot with Steve Fox and Zeb Wells writing and Greg Land and Ed McGuinness penciling, which to me usually seems like when you have the dual writers, dual pencilers, that we have a current, ongoing, and past or future story.
Yeah,
going. Like it seems like there'll be two distinct, whether it's interspersed or whatever, two distinct storylines going on. So that's that'll be interesting.
Or it's like a straight up, there's two stories, like it's two stories within one book, like I'm an anthology almost. Who knows?
So the X-Men Forever. I don't know if you saw the A cover for that at all. Or if you
no, I didn't at all. I just wanted to make my bat suit nipple joke, but.
The A cover is a phoenix painted in blood on the snow with Jean laying down in it.
Awesome.
That sounds great. Yeah. Oh, and it's Kieran Gillen on the writing.
Oh, hell yeah.
And Luca Maresca on the penciling. So yeah, it's that's getting pulled.
Yeah. Sounds cool.
One thing I did want to mention, for anyone who did not see it at the con.
Thank you so much for mentioning this. Yes.
Our good friend of the pod, Matt Flint, did a absolutely killer Turtles 148 cover exclusive to Syracuse Collectors Con.
Yep.
Yep. All 5 of the current Turtles going at it. This is the Virgin variant. There was also a trade dress. And absolutely killer art. That was another another great. I mean, that was my literal only pickup from the con. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there were if there's any extra copies, they're probably still available at Funky Town Comics and Vinyl in Camillus. So
yeah, if they're either there or if they're not, then contact Matt directly at Art of Matt Flint.
Yes, Matt Flint is a great artist, and not gonna spoil anything, but I'll just say stay tuned, maybe for a little bit of announcement from me and Matt Flint as far as comic books go. I'll just leave it at that.
Cryptic.
Want to bang out these two one shots and call it a night there, Steve?
I think we should.
I think we should as well.
I would say that I'll start it off then.
All right, cool.
Especially seeing in the notes, it says for me to start it off. So.
You have been assigned to this one shot.
I got done told to do this. According to Scooper Jeff Snyder, Scarlett Johansson has been offered the lead role in the new Jurassic World movie. So we're just going to go with all Avengers all the time to lead Jurassic World movies.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. will be doing 2 from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth will follow up after that.
So no word on whether she's accepted or not, but I feel like this is a good get for the Jurassic franchise.
Yeah.
I think you get like an A-lister to lead your next section of your new foray, your new franchise.
Yep.
It's a good get. I feel like she needs not that she needs. She's Scarlett Johansson. She doesn't need anything, but she's probably missing those Avengers dollars. Don't you think?
Yeah. I mean,
she's missing those franchise dollars.
Right.
So I can't imagine she's gonna go back to Marvel anytime since she's spoiler alert dead. And they had that whole she sued them, right, for the over the release of Black
over the
Widow
release of Black
whatever.
Widow.
So,
yep.
Can't imagine that's gonna happen. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm hit or miss on Jurassic movies, but I like Scarlett Johansson. I think she's a great actor. So, it makes me more inclined to want to see it, to be honest with you. And I think that's probably what they're going for. Like, let's get someone that people legitimately enjoy watching as an actor and can do it. So,
right.
We'll see. Last one shot of the night. Can't say that we're really going out with a bang here, but Venom 3 has a new title, the third and final, according to Tom Hardy. I believe it's the final one until they offer him more money. Final Tom Hardy Venom film will be called not just Venom 3, Venom: The Last Dance. Releases October 25th, 2024. Steve, what do you think of a title for a Venom movie, The Last Dance?
I think it makes me think of the Michael Jordan Netflix documentary.
Yeah. I think if this was, I think this is a good title for the Tom Hardy Venom series of movies because they've been goofy and silly and not what I want from Venom. But if I'm thinking of what Venom and Venom Let There Be Carnage felt like, then The Last Dance, I think, is a good title for a third one in that. If they're going to stick with that tone, then yes, fine, call it The Last Dance.
Oh, I finally watched Let There Be Carnage when I was in Colorado.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What'd you think?
It was a movie.
It sure was.
It was fine.
It was a movie. It was fine. Yeah.
It was fun. It was fine. It was, if you didn't go in having expectations, just like we say with a lot of things.
Yep.
Go in without expectations, and you're not going to be that disappointed. Like, it was.
Yeah.
Was it cinema? No.
No.
Like, we're not. It's we're not talking like Emmy Award winning here.
No.
Or Oscar for the matter.
Definitely not. Definitely not Emmy.
Definitively not an Emmy Award winning. But like, it was fine.
It was fine. It was fine.
It was what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I can say I watched one of the Venom movies now.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole expectations thing, it's like Star Wars, you're standing outside the theater, you're about to go in to see whatever movie, and you turn to your Jedi Master and say, "What's in there?" And they say, "Only what you take with you." You remember that. You go in with expectations, you're going to get your heart broke.
Yep.
Anyway, that's all we got. Let's leave it on a Venom Last Dance. The Last Dance. you think it's actually going to be like about a dance competition? That would be cool if it was like Tom Hardy as Venom has to defeat Woody Harrelson's Carnage in a like a dance reality show, like a So You Think You Can Dance.
Well, finding more chickens to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that would be great. Oh man, and all the other, it's Woody Harrelson's Carnage. It is Jared Leto's Morbius. It's like all like the villains. It's Craven or whatever. They're the other contestants on this in-universe dance competition show, and Venom has to win to like save his apartment building from being torn down. It's like one of those. It's like a Muppet plot, but it's with Venom. I would watch that movie. And Dakota Johnson as Madam Web is the judge of the dance competition.
Oh God,
she's the host of the reality show.
That's amazing and horrible at the same time.
Sony, call me. Both? Sony, I got better ideas than you. This is a stupid idea that would make more money than Sony.
Yeah, did you realize that Guy Gilchrist was at the con?
I did, and I did not have a chance to go and talk to him and tell him how long I've been staring at his artwork my entire life, how much it meant to me, and I feel bad that I did not get that chance. Did not have that chance.
He brought a Kermit with him too.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah. And Kermit met April.
Oh, really? I didn't. Oh, that's
because
cool.
Judith Hogue was there too. For anyone who wasn't there,
April O'Neil was there. Yep.
The OG April.
Yeah, that was a good time. I immediately talking to. Should have talked to him.
Well, it's one of those where neither of us had remotely enough time to actually wander around, and like when you're working it, you don't have the time to take in the con.
Yeah, you barely have time to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, literally, like we had to wait for our friend to show up for us to go to the bathroom.
Stand at our table. Yeah, I know. Wild.
Yeah.
But still a great time overall. And
yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got.
Would do again.
Yeah.
So sure. No, I'd say if you are a new listener, again, thank you for swinging by.
Happy to have you.
One thing we did not mention at the top of the show is that we did officially launch a Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/the Multiverse Report, you can support us, help us with hosting fees and whatever. And we will subsequently provide you guys some additional content. I can't remember what the tiers are. When we officially do this next week, I'll actually have a list of stuff in front of me. But I wanted to make sure it was out there. Beyond that, feel free to check us out on the socials at the Multiverse Report. Anything but Twitter. I can't remember what ours is there, but we haven't checked it in forever, so who cares?
I don't know what Twitter is at all.
Yeah. And then themultiverseport.com. Leave us a review. If it has a recipe in it, we will still eat it. Don't forget about that.
I did forget about that. If you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and that review includes a recipe, we will make that recipe and eat it while we're doing the podcast. That is a promise. Nobody has done it yet. A lot of interest, no execution.
Multiple attempts.
Come on.
We figured out the problem, but there's been no follow-up. So
no follow-up.
Yep.
Let's see those 5-star reviews and give us a recipe. I'm starving.
Yeah, I'm wasting away here, as you can see. And then beyond that, leave us the review. Talk to us on YouTube. We did get some interaction from William Cabral in the chat.
Thanks, William.
Yeah, it was after we had discussed the Acolyte, so I didn't have a way to shoehorn it in, but he asked if we were excited for the Acolyte, and I think we subsequently covered that quite vociferously.
Yeah,
just using big words at this point.
William, we're very excited about the Acolyte.
Yeah.
Trailer tomorrow. And again, stay tuned if we are out of our get second bonus episode about the Acolyte trailer tomorrow. And stay tuned for a bonus episode, including the stuff that we recorded live at Syracuse Collectors Con.
Yep.
And that's all we got. That's all you got, right, Steve?
Yeah. Once again, just thank our sponsors, Funky Town Comics and Vinyl and Camillus.
Thank you so much.
And thank you again to CNY Promotions for putting on an awesome con this weekend.
For sure. Thank you to everybody watching, everybody listening. And until next time, see you in the multiverse.